Alright everyone, it's Dokkan time, and today we will be going through the builds, the hidden potential builds, for the new LR Namek EZAs, which would be Krillin and Gohan, and then Goku Vegeta LRs. I'm going to go through the Krillin and Gohan unit first. I'm going to have the roll tips and the builds rotating on the right side of the screen. I will break down all of that after I go through the unit's actual kit and defense so that you can actually understand the reasons as to why I chose to build him that way. After we're done with Krillin and Gohan, we will move on to Goku Vegeta. So, and if you want to jump to any point in this video where, you know, defense, whatever, there will be links in the description to go to a specific point of the video. Anyways, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe and yada yada yada. Alrighty then, so let's just kind of go over the kit here for this newly EZA'd unit. They do not have a lot of 200% options, I gotta say. I'm a little disappointed on their 200% options, being Second Coming Gohan as a 200% Kamehameha leader, or the Vegeta, the brand new Dokkan Fest Vegeta Scouter unit as a Namek Saga leader. Let's see here. So their 12 key super before they costume change is stacking attack and defense for 20%. However, when they 18 key, they actually stack attack and defense by 50%. Their passive is as follows: attack and defense 170, 30% chance of evading, plus an additional key +1 per key sphere obtained, plus another additional key +1 if it is a rainbow key sphere, plus an additional attack and defense plus 50%, and chance of evading enemies' attack plus 20% when performing a super attack. So with that added from the top, that's a 50% chance to dodge thus far. Plus an additional attack plus 50%, and launches an additional attack that is a 50% chance of becoming a super attack when key is 18 or more. So if you hit the 18 key marker, you have a 50% chance to do an additional super. Launches an additional super attack, plus an additional chance of evading enemies' attack, plus 20% when key is 24 or more. So that means at 24 key, you will have a guaranteed super and then another 50% chance to additional super, and you will have 70% damage reduction. Or not damage reduction, but a dodge. I don't know why I said damage reduction. Damage reduction would have been great. But no, they have 70% chance to dodge as long as you are at 24 key or more. If you're only at 18 key or below 24 key, you will only be at 50% dodge, and you will lose one of the additional supers. So, they do transform, they costume change, after performing 4 or more super attacks in battle specifically. It is from the next turn onwards, so if on turn 3 you manage to do a total of 4 attacks from turn 1 and turn 3, then when they come back on turn 5, they will have costume change. They also do have an active skill, which is to just give them key plus 24 or more, and that can be activated from the 3rd turn onward. Their links are okay. They have Kamehameha, Cold Judgment, Shocking Speed, Solid Support, and Fighter. Not the greatest links, but not the worst. As I said before, their categories are pretty you know, Rapid Growth, Planet Namek Saga, Dragon Ball Seekers, Joined Forces, Kamehameha, and Earthbred Fighters. Not the most amazing links, I would say, or categories, I mean. Rapid Growth definitely needs a rapid growth. It has room to grow. Planet Namek Saga right now is getting buffed as we talk and as I record, but unfortunately it's a very specific team. There is no substituting leaders for Planet Namek Saga right now. Vegeta is pretty much the only sole meta-worthy leader as of right now. Dragon Ball Seekers has no well, leader pretty much. Joined Forces also is pretty rough on the leader choices, or at least it's pretty rough on having units to really intermingle with Krillin and Gohan. And then Kamehameha would be the best one as of right now, and Earthbred Fighters is good, but it can struggle. Purely because of the leaders. As far as their link partners go, as you'll probably see in the roll tips there, you know, you got your other Krillin and Gohans, other Joined Forces-esque units, Ultimate Gohans, Earthbred Fighters. A lot of these units are going to have like in-fighter links, Cold Judgment links. You're going to see a lot of these, and they will link pretty decently well there. I would say the most important links to be trying to activate, of course, are going to be Shocking Speed and Cold Judgment. After that, everything else is just pure damage. So just keep that in mind. They do have a costume change, and their ability does change once they change into their Namek or Saiyan battle armor. So let's go ahead and go over that. Once they actually do costume change, they're 12 key changes, and they no longer stack. They will greatly raise attack and defense. Actually, they'll only greatly raise attack, and they'll only raise defense on 12 keys, so that's something to keep in mind. It's still a buff, though, from their previous state. On 18 key, they, however, will 100% raise their attack, and then 50% raise their defense on 18 key. As far as their passive goes, it has changed a little bit. It has been more constricted. They basically do the same thing that they did before, but better. Attack and defense plus 200% and 50% chance of evading. Plus an additional key plus 2 per key sphere obtained, plus another additional key plus 1 if it is a rainbow key sphere. So you'll get 3 key for every rainbow key sphere. Plus an additional attack and defense plus 58%, and chance of evading enemies' attack plus 20% when performing a super. So that's a 70% chance to dodge again. Plus an additional attack plus 77%, and launches an additional attack that has a 70% chance of being a super attack when key is 18 or more. And then launches another additional super attack and chance for a crit plus 30% when key is 24 or more. So at 24 key, you will have a 30% chance to crit. At 24 key, you will have a free additional super and a 70% chance to do another super. And then, as I said before, you will also have 70% dodge. So that's pretty much their kit. And then, of course, you can use their active skill again, which will give them key plus 24. Links don't change, categories don't change. But yeah, so pretty decent, pretty good. Let's go ahead and go take a look at Halvard's defense calculations. So before they actually costume change, key plus 24 with 6 super attack effects. I have a comment about this. Max possible defense with 40% support on a 200% team is 2 million defense. So with this in mind, he is linking this unit with AGL LR Ultimate Gohan, which gives the maximum amount of defense you can get from his links, which is Cold Judgment and Shocking Speed. That's very good. I'm sorry, Halvard, I have to argue with you here. It is very unlikely that you'll be getting 6 super attack effects. I'm sorry to say this. I have tested this unit several times, and realistically, it is just unlikely that you will hit 6 super attack effects. I think realistically you will more than likely hit 4, maybe 5, but 6 is very unlikely to happen, and I would please do not expect 6 supers to be going off with this unit, because here's the deal. Turn 1, yeah, sure, you'll probably get a double, triple super at most. Maybe quad if you went additional into their hidden potential. Turn 3 when they come back around. If you didn't defeat the first phase that you were on, more than likely, they're going to be on cleanup duty. So they'll get that 118 key super off at most, and then that's it. Maybe a second one. Maybe a second super attack. But in my experience from testing them, no. They don't get to 6. They don't get to 6 ever. I did not manage to get them at 6 super attacks effect stacks. It never happened. It never happened. However, I did hit a point where I would be turn 1, I would get the 18 key, I would get the 12 key, and then I would get a triple. Or I also had points where I would hit the 18 key and get a double. So I'd get the actual 18 key and then 1 extra after that. And then on the next turn, I would only get an 18 key again. And then on turn 5, when I had only hit super attack 3 times, I would get another 18 key and then get a additional super and potentially another additional super after that. With that in mind, yes, it is possible, and at that point, that would be 3 18 keys, which would be 3 50% raises, and 2 to 3 20% raises, which would be anywhere from like 180 to 190% extra, stacks wise. Technically speaking, that's actually better to get 3 18 keys and then a bunch of other ones, but it has to be very specifically done, and it means that one of the 3 turns of them supering has to only be one super attack. But either way, in my personal experience, I have not seen them hit 6 super attack effects. So please do take that into consideration, that their max possible defense is probably not accurate. And if it's hitting this number, it's more than likely hitting this number due to domain effects. It's having to do with like a Piccolo like increase as far as like a partner goes, 70% support, 40% support, off-turn rotation support. Those kind of things will probably buff it up a little bit, but I am not going to sit here and tell you that, yes, you're going to hit a 6 super attack effect. So please do keep that in mind when gauging your defense with this unit. As far as when they go into costume change, as long as you had about roughly 6 super attack effects at 24 key or more, you can once again be at around the defense margin of 2.2 million defense, give or take, with support and having all of his links going off. In my personal experience, it is not likely that all of this unit's links will be going off. It's a little challenging. So let's kind of go over their builds a little bit here, and then their actual roll tips. So as far as the 55% goes, either level 12 additional or a level 7 dodge. This is an AGL unit, so they already have a level 5 additional built in, which means if you go ahead and use the level 5 here and a level 2 bronze, you can get to a total of level 12 additional. Or instead of doing that, you can go ahead and just give them the level 7 right here, and that will work. This is wrong. 1 second. Ladies and gentlemen, this is why you do not record and make content at nearly midnight on a work week. So, as I said, 55%, this is what I'd be suggesting, level 12 or level 7 into dodge or 12 into additional. Please choose either or, not necessarily a double equip like this. Use an infinite equip of an additional or a dodge orb for the bronze and the silver to get one of these. It's one of them, not both. Just keep that in mind when you're going with the 55% build. Now, moving on to the actual builds here. You can go with an additional build and then go with the remainder into dodge. I can definitely see how some people would believe that the crit chance of 30% is enough once they costume change. I 100% understand why you would think that is enough for you. You're going for more of a defensive approach with this unit. There's nothing wrong with that. This is what I would suggest if you so choose to be okay and lean on that 30% crit chance, because that is the only amount of damage you're really going to get out of this unit. So level 17 additional will also probably give you a better chance at getting some nice higher raw defense numbers, which is why I would suggest the level 5 defense equip down here. I do suggest still giving him dodge, though. This unit can tank normals, but aside from being absurdly wanked and even using items, perhaps, you're just not going to get it to a defensive number where you're going to survive a 3 million super, which is starting to become very normal for today's content in the hard meta fights. Another suggestion for their builds would be a level 5 or a level 9 crit and then level 12 dodge. And then at that point, this is the minimum, by the way, so this is what it would be like before you give equipment. And then you would give them a level 5 dodge, which would put this to 17. And then you give them a level 5 crit orb, which would put this at 14. And then another 2 crit would put that at 16, which would be equal another proc of 30% chance total. Because remember, every level of crit is 2% chance. Every level of dodge is only a 1% chance, however. So, this is a build that I will probably be utilizing the most, as through my runs, I noticed that this unit struggles to do damage because of the lack of crit chance. And this unit can hit some pretty decent good crit numbers, I feel. So, or some damage numbers. But in today's content, we have a lot of damage reduction. We have a lot of raw defense mechanics from our bosses. So crit sometimes is the only way you're actually getting damage to be really getting put out. So that's why I kind of wanted to have a build where I had some crit, but also to lean on the defensibility of the unit, which is actually lacking. But the only way to circumvent that is with dodge. So this is my personal choice of the build. The other build choice was primarily for other people that do not wish to lean on that. So, and now we will move on to the roll tips. As I said before, this is primarily the only options for the unit. This is their primary sources for damage. In all honesty, they're not tanks. They can tank very well, but they're not a tank if you so wish. Their best slot position is definitely going to be in slot 3 or 2. One of the two is fine. Slot 1 you can do, but I would be very wary of it because they are dodge or die before supering. As far as partners go, UI Goku, Ultimate Gohan, and Yamcha are all decent link partners. Yamcha actually having better links than all the rest of them. They're all pretty decent because all of these units can be all slot 1 units to Krillin and Gohan. And yes, Yamcha is a quote-unquote slot 1 because of the way his kit is built, and he is a dodge or die slot 1 dodge tank. But the Gohan Piccolo unit is definitely the primary partner with the 70% defense support, the solid slot 1 being on the Namek Saga team. That's probably the main partner a lot of people are using, but just not for key links. Link battery wise, this unit is not a good choice, but just overall with the support and being on a very good unit on the primary team, which is Namek Saga with Vegeta, that is one of their best choices for a partner. So with all that being said, we're going to move on to the Goku Vegeta unit. Let me know how you decided to build this Gohan and Krillin unit. Alright, we're going to pick up with the Vegeta Goku LR. Now, as you can see on the screen on the right side, I do not have roll tips for this unit because I don't believe that as of right now that this unit can be run on really any other teams. It only has one kind of general purpose for the team usage. This is what I would call a literal jack of all trades. And this unit does not tank very well, or it doesn't tank absurdly well. It doesn't do an absurd amount of damage. It doesn't support overly or do very much at all. But it does have some actual good things about the unit, so I'm not going to trash the unit. It's not the worst LR EZA I've seen. But I will say that the usage of this unit is pretty much only going to be utilizing the revive effect, in my personal opinion. So let's just kind of go over the unit's kit. As far as the 200% options go, this unit actually has loads of different 200% options, but I will say the only teams you will probably use this unit on is straight up going to be on either the Scouter Namek Vegeta, which is also this Vegeta Goku's best partner, by the way, at least until he transforms into Goku. And then probably on Super Saiyan Vegeta's team. You could utilize him on Broly's team, but I don't think that this is an uncontrollable power unit, so you'll actually be hurting Broly specifically if you do choose to bring this Vegeta onto that team because of his domain restrictions. He will also be getting hurt because he is an extreme unit if you put him onto UI Goku's team, because the domain will not help him, it will actually hurt him. So there is that to take into consideration. I do feel like this Vegeta is waiting for a better team or a better leader, better partner, maybe more support. I'm not really sure, but you tell me once we go through all of this stuff. So, As far as how his kit goes, I'm sorry, I gotta change this thing. I gotta change the theme. Jesus. My cat just scared me. So, the 12 key super for this unit is greatly raising attack and then raising defense. So no, this is not a stack. This is actually just 50% attack boost on 12 key and then 30% raise on the 12 key on the defense. And then 18 key actually will raise attack and defense for 3 turns. This is actually not good. I would have taken virtually anything other than this. Anything else would have helped this unit. If this was just a 20% stack, this would still be infinitely better than this, because this is temporary. It's only for the 1 turn. I don't think the extra 10% was worth it. If they had just done a 20% attack raise here, I think it would have made the unit infinitely better. As far as the kit goes for Vegeta, it's pretty long, and literally you cut this in half once you get to Goku. Key plus 3 attack and defense 180, plus another additional key plus 4 and reduces damage received by 30% when HP is 38% or more. Plus an additional key plus 4 and launches an additional attack. There's a 50% chance of becoming a super when HP is 50% or more. When you have 70% more or more HP, you have a 70% chance of performing a super and an additional key plus 4. And then plus an additional attack and defense 150. If HP is 50% or less at the start of the character's attacking turn, or starting from the 5th turn from the start of battle, revive with 70% HP recovered by exchanging with Goku. Or when the character or an ally in the attacking turn is KO'd. So the transformation conditions are basically you have to be at 50% or less HP now. It used to be 30% or less, which basically made it impossible to trigger. This is actually a very reasonable trigger HP moment, and probably can actually happen realistically. As far as links go, Brutal Beatdown, Prodigy, Saiyan Pride, Saiyan Warrior, Prepared for Battle, and Fierce Battle, and then Legendary Power. Not very good links in my personal opinion, and actually very terrible links in all honesty. But he does get a good sizable damage number, and I will say that. Categories are actually kind of all over the place, and he is on a lot of good categories. I just don't feel like he's doing enough defense and number-wise. As far as his link partners go, as I said before, Scouter Vegeta is probably his best linking partner, his only linking partner even, perhaps. You could also utilize this Vegeta on the Vegeta Super Saiyan team. And then, of course, you can utilize this guy. Like I said, he technically has good links for Vegeta, but overall not the best links that are actually going to play well with others. Yeah, Saiyan Warrior, Prepared for Battle, Fierce Battle, just a bunch of attack links primarily. So, but with all that being said, let's move on to a Goku over here. So once you revive, you will transform into Goku, which will change several things about the unit. So now on 12 key, you're going to greatly raise... Actually, it doesn't change on his 12 key. His 12 key is the same, so greatly raise attack, which is 50%, and then raise defense for 1 turn, which is 30%. But that's kind of irrelevant, and you'll see why in just a second here. But then he does greatly raise attack and defense for 3 turns. Notice how the passive just got cut completely in half. E plus 10, attack and defense plus 200%, plus an additional attack and defense 159 performing a super, reduces damage received by 30%, 50% chance of performing a crit, plus an additional key plus 5 and attack plus 59% when there's an extreme class enemy, and then plus an additional damage reduction of 30%, and performs crit when there's another Planet Namek Saga category ally attacking in the same turn, or a Planet Namek Saga category enemy. So, basically the unit has auto crits once you go into Goku. He has 60% damage reduction. All of this sounds amazing. He has All in the Family, Kamehameha, Saiyan Lineage, Prayer for Battle. So his links do change dramatically to the point of where he has completely different linking partners. So if you do revive into this guy, Scouter Vegeta will no longer be his best link partner, so keep that in mind. At that point, it's more Broly's, other Gokus, Goku Vegetas, basically other units that are probably honestly not going to be on the team unless you're running the Super Saiyan Vegeta as a leader specifically. So let's go ahead and go look at Halvard's defense numbers. So in base, in Vegeta, with one stack effect, 40% support, he can get up to 1.3 million defense. Now, I understand he does have 30% damage reduction, but I'm going to tell you right now, that's not enough. His defense is mediocre at best, even if he quad supers, which is pretty impressive that he can quad super. But aside from just himself doing damage, yeah, there's just he ain't cooking crap. I will say that is one of the most disappointing parts of this unit, is that in the Vegeta state, he has loads of additionals in here, but we have no crit. So that means that the damage, even though, you know, you're able to have a quad super potential instance here, it's irrelevant because you have no crit. And then you have the opposite problem when you go into Goku, who has no built-in additional, but can auto-crit. So you see, the Vegeta and the Goku unit struggle to find out what the heck they're doing. It's pretty rough, and you'll see that once we actually look at their defense numbers, which the defense numbers for Goku are actually less at 1.2 million. Now, don't get me wrong, he does have 60% damage reduction. That does go far. But, however, when a 3 million super attack is coming at you, you know, unless you're having all in the Saiyan lineage prepared for battle. Okay, so it's not taking the... he could be okay defensively. You know, 60% out of 3 mil. You know, you take out 60% out of 3 mil, you're down to 1.5, roughly 1.4, and he's tanking 1.2. So yeah, Goku himself could actually tank a 3 million super and take minimal damage. So, I mean, defense-wise, Goku's doing okay. He does like 1 super, maybe 2 if you're lucky. And he can get some decent defense in there and then a little bit of damage. But that's why I have the problem here with this unit, is like they just don't know what the heck they're doing. And Vegeta ain't tanking anything, and that's why I said primarily what you're probably going to be doing with this unit is waiting for Vegeta to revive into Goku, and then at that point you'll just be doing damage and he'll be tanking and just doing his thing. He will not be the highest damage dealer on any team. He will not be the best tank in any of these teams. Well, no, he could actually be a pretty decent tank. I'm just kind of, like, underwhelmed for some reason with this Vegeta. I'm pretty underwhelmed. Because I really wanted them to be a little bit better. I don't know. It's a little underwhelming when you see Vegeta do a quad super, and then you die, revive into Goku, and he does 1 super and he bounces. It's a little, it throws you back a little bit when you view the unit like that specifically. But unfortunately, I do feel like this unit is kind of stuck to a Planet Namek Saga team specifically, because you got to realize that if you don't have a Planet Namek Saga ally on the same attacking turn, or you're fighting a Planet Namek Saga unit, you're not going to have that 60% damage reduction. You're not going to be doing automatic crits. In fact, you'll be doing very close to nothing, and you will have very little defense to even tank anything, because 30% is not much. 60%, however, is a lot. 30% though, if a 3 million super comes out, you're just gonna take over 1 million damage from that. Yeah, you're just take over 1 million damage for that. But because, you know, math, you know, you add another 30 on there, and all of a sudden you tank more than half the damage. But anyways, I think that's gonna be it for the video. It was a pretty long one. I am both surprised, but slightly, I'm whelmed. I'm whelmed by both this Krillin and Gohan and Goku and Vegeta. I do wish there was another Planet Namek Saga unit leader specifically that could round off the teams a little bit better. Something other than Scout or Vegeta specifically that I could house all of these units on to make a proper Planet Namek Saga team. But anyways, guys, let me know how you're going to build both of these units, and I hope you have a good day and a good night.